Hi, everybody.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, you know, we're wearing blue today.
We are. Look at how
I know.
nice we look.
I know. You know what else is blue?
What?
The Disney World sign.
The Disney World sign. It's a little purplish. It's a little more purplier, but it's in the blue family.
It is in the blue family.
Amy, why are we going to Disney World today on our Sunday drive? Anything to talk about? Anything going on?
A little bit. Yeah, there's a little bit. So what?
Nothing. There's just like.
I thought you were pointing at something.
It's a stressful time here in Central Florida, Jerry.
Yeah, if you've been watching the news, there's a lot of news. And by the way, before we do anything, just look in front of us, right?
Yeah, right.
Walt Disney World, the most magical place on earth. There we've got Donald, we've got Mickey, we've got Minnie. Beautiful,
Yes.
love it. And what a great thing here in Orange County to kind of be a part of this.
And this week, the politicians in the state performed a magic trick.
They did.
They snapped their fingers. And now, so we're in the Reedy Creek Improvement District, Special Tax District. That's where we are right now,
Okay, right.
Tell me about that. What does that mean?
I'm going to let you go with this because, so Disney World has been its own little entity, right?
Yes. 55 years worth.
It had its own tax privileges, its own decision-making privileges, and things like that. It is the number one employer.
Well,
it is the main reason people come to Florida. So
here's what happened.
A big deal.
Yeah, so Walt Disney was buying up all this land, and
years ago, not like yesterday.
55 yeyears ago, yeah. But he essentially said, "Look, I got to do my own thing here, people." And what are you going to say to Walt Disney at that point? Because if you think back to what this area looked like before it was Disney World, Orlando was not the thriving metropolis it is today. Indeed. With the 7th largest airport in the world, by passenger volume and whatever. I saw that the other day. He had a lot of pull. So they said, okay, yeah, sure. Special taxing districts. So they basically tax themselves to pay for all these roads, to pay for these signs that
don't look like anybody else.
Blue and red, yeah, because this is part of the Reedy Creek Improvement District. So special tax district. There are other special taxing districts like the Villages. Mm-hmm. For some reason, that one still is in existence. Let's
wonder why.
Let's start with your charge to me, which is that this is not about political.
No, this is not, because it is very, very, very important to me that politics or our political aspect is not what we're discussing. What we're discussing is the decision that was made by our local politicians.
State politicians. Local politicians had no involvement.
True. You're right. Correct. Thank you for the correction. Thank you. Our state politicians. And that's kind of exactly it. There hasn't been a lot about the residents here, those of us who live in the community and the area where this has a huge effect.
Right.
And that's really what the focus of this discussion is. So please don't take this as anything political, because it absolutely is not.
Right. Now it is a political issue because it is a decision made by politicians. But
we are not stating our political...
We're not.
No.
So, no, of course not. That. No. Well, first of all, because this channel is about helping you buy and sell homes in Central Florida. That's what we're here for. Right. And so, we're going to do, we want to tell you how this relates to that. Okay, not so much how we feel about the thing. Amy, specifically, is I'm a little fired up about it, and I am gonna share why I'm a little fired up about it, because it's part of the process. It's part of what we're talking about, which is this. Mm-hmm. The reason I'm fired up about it. So wherever you are on the political spectrum doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is that Disney is the largest employer in our state.
True.
And obviously the largest employer around here.
True.
There was a law that was passed. Disney, under pressure of their employees, cast members, what have you, made a decision about where to donate money.
Indeed.
And then, politicians that were affected by that choice announced last Tuesday that they would be ending this special tax district. They're not hiding it. They're not pretending that this is anything but a retaliation. Blatantly. But that was on Tuesday. On Thursday, the legislature passed the law, and on Friday, the governor signed it. What didn't you hear in there?
If you're asking me, I'll tell you what I didn't hear. I didn't hear any research. I didn't hear any studies. I didn't hear any local leaders or any residents of the area, any of the constituents having any say
Right.
so in the matter. In fact, I was laughing a little bit, not in a funny way, but where we used to live before, they were several times, they were trying to put a 7-Eleven at the corner of an area where we lived, and there was more town hall meetings and community interest and just interest with all of the entities that be to find out if we thought the 7-Eleven was a good idea. And I'm not paralleling it exactly. All I'm saying is that was a very quick, a very big, a very large decision that affects a very larger percentage of our population here, and there was nothing.
I want to come back to that because that's an important that little exercise, as we sort of talked about this before. That thing is a good crystal ball into the future.
Sure.
Okay. So by the way, so all of the roads that you see here are paved and operated and taken care of by the Reedy Creek, special tax authority, whatever. All of this stuff, everything that is done here is done as if they're their own city, because they are. That's under the law. That's what they are. But so let's go back before we go to that. Back to the example. So what does this mean? Okay, now, exactly to our point, we don't know. So you take something that affects one of the largest metropolitan areas in Florida, and that affects your number one employer, and we literally the people are like the people that sponsored the bill are like, we'll sort it out, we'll figure it out. However, so people that have done the initial math, to go back, localities raise money by sales tax and property tax. That's the way we get money to pay for roads and whatever it is. Disney taxes themselves. If this special taxing district goes away, then the way that the county, so Osceola County will get part of this area to be responsible for, and Orange County will get part of this area to be responsible for. Now, people say, well, then you'll get more taxes. Okay, but they already pay sales tax to the counties that they're in. There's already taxes that they get paid to the state and everywhere. So that shouldn't change. So the only other way to get revenue is property tax. Okay? Now, there is a rule, there's a law, it's not a rule, it's a law, that says and property tax, you can't tax one entity more than someone else. Okay? So anything that is a raise in property tax has to be across the board. Okay? So the early estimates are that it could be as much as a 25% increase in property taxes for property owners in Orange County. Why would you care about that, Amy?
We live in Orange County.
Right. Well, also, and this is where, we help people buy and sell houses.
Exactly. The majority of my clients are in the Orange and Lake County areas, just based on kind of where we live. But Orange County is a tremendous percentage of that, and it absolutely affects people. Property taxes is one of the big questions that's on everybody's mind, regardless of this situation. Yeah. When people are moving here from up north, they're so impressed. Oh my gosh, that's all you pay in taxes, and then there's other people like, oh, that's high. Always relative to where you live and what part of the country, but it is still part of the conversation.
Right. So up here on our left, that's what we put into the GPS. So that's the Reedy Creek Fire Department firehouse. So just as an aside, because we're going past there.
Yes.
So Orange County would now be responsible for operating that fire station.
Okay.
Orange County would be responsible if something caught on fire in Disney World to have the local employees that would go there. Okay. As things stand right now, who knows? We could work something out. I don't know.
Right.
But anyway. So if property, and I'll put some examples on the screen. So if your house was assessed at $500,000, I'm not going to calculate necessarily homestead into there, although that's a factor.
That is a factor, yes.
Because in homestead, there's a limit on how much property taxes can be raised also. Ultimately, though, so to pay for services for all of this area, Orange County's going to have to do something. They're going to have to raise that money. Now, there's two ways this can go when we say we're going to figure it out. And again, this is all initial thinking through it.
Yeah.
Two ways this is going to go. Either Disney's going to fight this and say, well, you can't take away our special tax district on a retaliatory basis. And if they do that, then maybe things will remain the same. By the way, it's next June 2023, that this is supposed to dissolve. So they could fight it. And I think people think that they're expecting to fight it. They expect them to fight it. But then part 2 of... you can like turn around when you want to and go back the other way. Go up by Magic Kingdom.
That's fine.
But I tend to think... So there's talk that there is a $1 billion... Billion. Do you hear that B when I said billion?
It's a B.
A $1 billion bond that Reedy Creek has taken out that would then have to be absorbed by the localities, right? When this dissolves. Okay? They pay themselves $100 and some million in taxes every year. So what this means is, well, they could just say, no, okay, this is your problem now, Orange County, Osceola County, this is your problem. You guys fix the roads. Disney is a corporation. They're gonna have their accountants look and say, okay, well, what makes the most financial sense to us? So I'm not so sure that Disney's going to fight this. I'm not so sure Disney's just going to not go.
Well, I mean, does it kind of behoove them in some way that this has been done?
Well, I mean, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think that might be one of the surprise things that happens in this is if there is in fact a $1 billion bond and and they can lower their tax,
Mr. Boss.
They may go, well, our shareholders would prefer that we just become part of Orange County and Osceola County, and that's the way it goes.
Disney Springs, by the way.
Yes, by the way.
Yeah.
So who knows? But now let's talk about effects on. Tell me about. So one of the things that jumped out to you was permitting.
Right.
So go back to that idea of they wanted to build a 7-Eleven.
Right.
So what happened then, and what might happen then with Disney?
Well, so I mean, again, there's a lot of unknowns, and we certainly do not, we're not the fly on the wall inside these rooms where these conversations are held. But my fear is that some of these conversations have not been held.
Right.
And again, just kind of going back to the time where, there was this corner of this intersection where 7-Eleven wanted to put a 7-Eleven with a car wash, and there was a lot of conversation with the community, the locals, where, of whom would be affected. That's horrible grammar, my apologies. That would be affected by that decision. And there were town halls, there were meetings, there were Facebook pages, there were letters that were sent to us as residents that would be affected by that decision so that we could have our input. So that was one aspect. And I think in this case, it was like somebody higher up, that someone is, just made the decision.
Yes.
And didn't really consider or care to consult with anyone else that, could be affected by that. But when you talk about the real estate aspect of it, so if what we're saying now and potentially could be happening then is that Orange County, if Disney's trying to permit for a new ride, if Disney's trying to do anything that's going to involve Orange County permits, then do you already know the delays that we are dealing with currently just with new construction and regular residential?
Us. What is it?
Well, it's crazy. I mean, first of all, there's building material issues, which just has nothing to do with permitting. But
right now, if I file a permit to build a house, how long is it going to be?
It's already taking about 3 months, sometimes more.
Just to look at it.
Just to get your permit back to start, breaking ground on it. And that's, I think, hello. Oh, boy.
Don't run.
Yes. Do you just want to keep going straight and go down the other way?
Whatever you feel.
Okay, that's what I do.
Now all of this comes now under the purview of Orange County. If Orange County can't tax their citizens enough to afford to pay new building inspectors, now we have to spread out the ones that we have. Mm-hmm. That's kind of where I went, oh boy. Yeah. Because we have to do one of two things. We have to either raise money or we have to cut services. You could turn if you want. Do what you feel.
I'm going to go this way. That was a white line.
So we have to raise taxes or we have to cut services. That's it. So we already are building school after school after school after school, right? Half of the schools in Orange County have been built in the last 10 years, okay? Largely because our economy is growing, so people are moving here, largely because we have big employers like Disney. Hi. So, anyway, so I guess, we're sort of, if you get a sense that we're kind of rambling about it, which we are, It's because I feel like we're a little bit stunned.
Yeah.
Because it was announced on Tuesday, passed on Thursday, signed on Friday, and literally even the local newspapers, the local television stations, they're all kind of going, we don't know. But all of them are like, well, it's pretty clear that this would mean a raise of property taxes for residents of Orange County. That's us. That's the people that move here, that call you for real estate. That's people that sell their homes here. Now, let me give you one of those. So we're in a time interest rates have gone up, right? By next June, I don't think anybody anticipates that interest rates will be back to 3% again or anything. So one thing that could happen is that, by the way, Orange County Sheriff's Department there. Thanks for doing what you do. The one thing that could happen is maybe it affects the number of buyers that are in the market. Maybe there are more sellers out there because they're like, okay, well, my property tax bill went up by $200 a month. I can't afford that, so let me sell my house.
Right.
Well, what happens then? Now we're shifting away from this really, really strong seller's market. Who knows if we get to a buyer's market? Yeah. But it could have the net effect of making it more affordable to live here because the house wouldn't cost as much. I don't see that happening, but I don't know that for sure. I mean, when you raise property taxes by a lot, we're talking about for the average home. So the average home price right now in Orlando is $381 last month. $381,000 was the average sale in this area. Now, where we live in Horizon West, it's like $550,000, $600,000. It's a higher price point. So let's just say your house is assessed at $500,000, and I can't do that math in my head right now, but if your housing prices go up by $200, $300 a month because the property taxes went up, you just simply might not be able to afford that. So then if we get 10 or 20 more houses on the market, that could be a good thing. That's all I'm saying. Yes. I don't know.
Ultimately, there's just a lot we don't know.
That's true.
Except that a decision was made very, very quickly, and the reason for it, I think, is a bit
I do have an expert in the car.
Yes.
I do. And so just like with the Magic 8 Ball, I actually sat down on Buzz earlier. Exactly! That's what we should have said last Tuesday. Exactly, Buzz.
Whoa.
Oh, he's ready to fight.
Okay.
Buzz, what should we do?
There's a secret mission in uncharted space. Let's go.
All right, you heard him.
That's true.
That is true.
Buzz, you are very wise.
So smart.
Do you have any more advice for us, Buzz?
Buzz Lightyear to Star Command. Come in, Star Command.
That's not helpful.
Stay sharp. There can be danger lurking anywhere.
I feel like you didn't need us talking. We just needed to ask Buzz Lightyear.
Buzz, all right, guys.
Again, one more piece of advice.
We have to stop the Zergbot.
Yes, we do! The question, as always, is who is the Zergbot?
Okay,
I guess that's what I'm asking, Amy, is who is the Zergbot?
All right, guys.
That was hilarious.
Yes,
okay.
that was funny. All right, so this was our little Sunday edition, mostly because of, again, the things that are going on. But let that not worry you, because we still have lots of gorgeous homes and opportunity. And you saw as we drove through Disney, we are still cranking out here. There are people everywhere. It is so busy, and it is absolutely gorgeous and lovely to live here in Florida. So despite what's going on, it'll all work itself out. I always believe that it will. So with that, please stay safe, stay well. Remember, we love you, and happy house hunting.